Good evening. Happy Monday. Welcome to our replay class. I know not everyone can be here right when we start, but that's okay because we keep these up in the group. So I am adding something to my notes really quickly that I just thought of, but I'm going to hold on because I know it takes a few minutes for everybody to get alerted to the fact that we've started. So I'm just going to hop through my notes here and add a couple of things while people are joining. Hey Chelsea, how are you tonight? Let's see. Hey Molly, hope you guys are doing well. All right. Well, I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes, not a couple minutes, 1 minute to jump on here. Ooh, better turn the sound off. A minute to jump on here, and then we're going to jump right in for tonight. So I don't know what's going on with my voice. It seems like every time I have a class lately, my voice tends to, I don't know, cut out. Hi from Japan. Hello. I don't know how to say your name. You might have to help me out, but I'm so excited that you're here. Okay. I think y'all, if you want, can share this event still straight from the event. I'm not 100%, but I think that's the case. So if you want to share, go ahead as we're getting started here. And I have written myself a script, so this seemed like the mature thing to do. So I'm going to try to stick to the script, even though that's not my typical style, but I don't want to miss the information that I really want to present. So I do have a script here. And I have power tonight. EO, is that right? That's what I was guessing. So if that's right, that's phenomenal because EO is like essential oils. It's like perfect. Okay, but anyway, I'm super excited that you're all here. Okay, well, let's jump in. Welcome so much. I'm very, very happy to be here. This is actually one of my very favorite things to teach on because I was such a skeptic from the start. And so I love that my eyes have been opened, and so I want to share that with y'all tonight. So hey everybody, thank you so much. So if you haven't met me, my name is Heidi Stone. My husband Daniel and I are Young Living Gold leaders, and we have been with Young Living for about 5 years. So that's where our Young Living journey started. But we were actually already well on our way to toxin-free living prior to that. So our journey overall into this really intentional, careful lifestyle started about 10 years ago, and it started with the very simple task of reading ingredients. So I actually started reading ingredients not on food or on body care products or anything like that. I actually started reading ingredients on medications and on vaccines. And so that really just launched me into this entire journey. So, like I said, that was before Young Living, but that was really what caused me to really start to examine things more closely, and that is really what set us up on this journey for toxin-free living. So I want to begin tonight's class with a little bit of history on how I was actually introduced to essential oils and what my initial expectations and plans were for integrating them into our family. So I see you all are saying hi. I'm so glad you're saying hi. I'm so sorry if I miss anything. Please remind me at the end if I miss a comment or a question. Okay, here's kind of what I was anticipating. Now, it is hard to imagine looking back from today how quickly things can change in just a couple of years, especially with essential oils on practically every shelf in every store today. But 5 years ago, essential oils were not at all what they are today. I had never even heard of an essential oil at that time. And so I received a message from a college friend of mine one day, and she basically just said that she and her family had started using these things called essential oils, and she asked me if I had heard of them and told me that she thought they might be a good fit for our family because she knew that we were always looking for natural health options. And so I said no, I had not heard of them because I hadn't. And I said I'll do some research on them though and get back to you. So I am kind of a researcher. I really need to know why things are the way they are, and I'm not apt to just take your word for it. I'm generally pretty skeptical of things until I understand the reasoning. So what I did was, when I began my research, my approach to doing that research, while I was focused on safe products and quality products for our family, my approach was really not proactive, which is where we're at right now. My approach was still really reactive. So what I was doing was I was looking for natural products that we could use when we got sick. Like, didn't even occur to me that I could do anything to prevent us from getting sick, okay? This is kind of the world that we're in. We're in a culture, here in the States at least, where, it is what it is, and if you get sick, then you deal with it. And that was really my mindset. And so as I was doing my research, I was really focused on finding essential oils or supplements or other natural things that we could use maybe in place of something else if we got sick. That was really what I was looking for. And so, of course, on the internet, when you do a search for something and you use specific terms, you're pretty much going to find exactly what you're looking for, because there is an article out there about every single thing on earth. You can find anything you want. So what I found was exactly what I was looking for. And so basically, I went back to my friend Ultimately and said, yeah, I think that this is what we want. But before I did that, what I found when I was doing that research was, wow, there are a lot of companies selling essential oils. And this was 5 years ago, and there were, I have no idea how many companies are selling essential oils now, but it feels like everybody is. And then that was not the case, but there still were several dozen companies that I looked at. And so, I loved my friend and I wanted to support her, but I was also a frugal mom and we were on a budget. And so I wanted to make sure that I was getting the best quality oils I could purchase at the most reasonable price. So I looked all over and I found all sorts of prices for essential oils. All sorts of prices, okay? And I kind of assumed that, the cheapest ones surely had to be worthless, because everybody knows that cheap is cheap for a reason, right? So I kind of had to shift my focus off of what the oils cost to why would they cost that? Because for me, you can see what they cost, but there's a reason behind that, right? And so if they're inexpensive oils, really inexpensive, vastly less expensive than most, you can probably assume they're not going to be great. On the flip side, though, just because something is the most expensive, that does not mean it is the best quality. You can find something that's very expensive that's still not amazing quality. It's just that they're taking advantage of the market price. So again, I'm launching into this research, okay? You did not miss much, Vicki. I'm just telling my story. So what I found was really fascinating, but a little bit scary to me as I was doing this research and I was trying to figure out why different oils cost different prices. What I discovered was that in the US, the government does not have any regulations on essential oils. So you literally can go to the store and pick up a bottle that says 100% pure lavender essential oil, and it could truly, legally be labeled that way and have no pure lavender oil in it at all. Okay? So think for just a second, if the United States government had no regulation on the food that you ate, none, okay? Like they didn't care what the meat manufacturers put in, and they didn't care how it was labeled. Okay, that's what we're talking about. That's how essential oils are in the United States. The government looks at them as a perfume. And so they don't really care because they don't believe that there's any therapeutic qualities. And so it's just smelly. So it's smelly stuff, So anyway, I found that, and that was a little frightening to me because, the whole purpose of doing this was that I wanted to be careful about the ingredients. So no regulations meant basically that I wanted to do as close to farm to table basically as I could. So most people are familiar with that phrase for food. You want to go as close to the source as you can. If possible, you want to be able to see what's going on and then get that to your house in the most direct way possible. That was what I wanted for my oils. That was what I wanted for my supplements. And that's really what I prefer for my food. So long story short, the only company that I found that I really felt comfortable with their process was Young Living, because they were very transparent. They owned their own farms. They kept everything in-house as much as they could. And they offered free visits to anybody to come and see their farm at any time. Like, I have a relative who used to work in the food industry, and she was the person that had to go into the restaurants and, like show up unannounced and tell them, you're doing this all wrong. And so not like a really well-loved position to be in, but that's very common in the food industry. The problem is only a problem, though, if you're doing things wrong. So if you are basically announcing to the world, you are welcome to come at any time and take a look at everything we do, I feel really good about that. So that was why we decided to go with Young Living. So I decided I was ready to invest in some oils. And so I messaged my friend and I said, okay, I'm ready. I don't really know where to start, though, because there's like a lot of oils. And so she said to me that most people started with the premium starter kit. And so I said, okay, so a lot of you probably have been to a class, or you went to a class before you bought your kit, and you got to smell the oils and see them and maybe taste them. I had none of that. Like, my friend didn't even live in town. So I literally was going in like sight unseen, smell unseen, smell unsmelled. So anyway, so that was how I started. I had zero education outside of the little bit of research I had done. And the research I had done was all about reactive care. Okay, so now, thank you so much, Charlotte. So now I want to fast forward a couple years. And so if you have some Young Living oils already, go ahead and grab one and put a few drops into your hand. I'm going to take a drink while you do that. Okay, it doesn't really matter what oil you grab. I'm going to grab Theives. Okay, so put a drop in your hand. And now we're going to swirl the oils in our hand clockwise, okay? A couple times. And then we're going to collectively take an awkward 10-second pause on a live video, okay? You have never known how awkward 10 seconds is on a live video until this very moment. So you remember this, all right? We are going to cup our hands over our nose and mouth and breathe deeply. You are welcome to close your eyes. You will not miss a thing. I won't even make faces or anything. Breathe deeply for 10 seconds, all right? Biggest awkward pause on live video ever. Here we go. Okay, I hope y'all did that with me. All right, so if you're wondering why we did that, just sit tight for a minute, okay? So now, because I know you came to this class to learn about using essential oils for emotions, I want to tell you my story specific to that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the science behind the oils. So real quickly though, if you did that with an oil, please let me know what you used. I'm so curious. I used Theives because it was the closest oil to me. All right, so let's dive in. So about 3 years ago, it was late winter, and I found myself having a rough day. Like, a really rough day. Like, I was actually really having a rough season of life, like a long, rough season. And we'd been using essential oils for a couple years, but periodically, like on an as-needed basis, right? Reactively. And on this particular day, I was actually thinking back to all the nonsense that I had read during my initial research about oils. And the nonsense was the part about the idea that essential oils could actually be used to affect my emotions and my mood and my outlook on life. I remembered how silly that had sounded to me then, and how silly it sounded to me in that moment. And I was thinking back to how ridiculous that was, but also thinking about how rough my life was at that moment. And I was really desperate. And sometimes in desperation, we do things that we would not normally do. So I had invested in some reference books for using my oils, because again, I like to have the why. I like to know where I can go for questions, and I want to have a scientific source. So I pulled out a couple of reference books that I had invested in, and I began to do a little bit of research. So I was still very, very skeptical, but I was turning pages and I was looking specifically for essential oils that were listed in any category related to emotional wellness. So in my skepticism, I went to my oil rack. At the time I had one oil rack. I think now we have about 6 oil racks in our house, but I had one at the time in my bedroom, and I had locked myself in my room. Okay, moms, if you're a mom and you're watching this, this is the true story of my life. Okay, I have 6 children at home. They're all within 9 years. They were all born within 9 years, and we homeschool. So I'm with my kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And my youngest at the time was about 1.5. And so that would have made my oldest 9, 10 probably. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on in that day. I had locked myself in my room because I was having a day. So anyway, I went to the oil rack that was in my room with my reference books in hand, and I pulled all those oils that I found in the emotional sections. And I didn't really do a whole lot of research. I just pulled what was listed and I lined them all up on my dresser. So we have like a dresser, and it has the big mirror that sits on top. And I think there were like 27 of them or something. It filled the width of the mirror. And so I lined them all up there, and I just started putting some on. I didn't even care which ones I was putting on or where I was putting them. I just put them on, and I was inhaling them. And while I was putting them on, I was praying. I was praying that God would rescue me out of that really, really rough season in my life, because I did not know what else to do. I'm always surprised when I get really emotional, and I don't know, I shouldn't be. It was a really rough season. So I was praying. So that first day, I probably put oils on every half an hour. I would go into my room and I would lock the door and I would put those oils on. Didn't matter which ones, didn't matter where I put them, but I would put the oils on and I would pray. And I knew a little bit, like I knew enough that there was some level of connection between the oils and my emotions. Like I knew that I'd heard enough, even though I was skeptical. Like I think I had a little bit of belief at that point, enough to know I'm going to try it. So I probably did it every half an hour that first day. The next day, maybe the next couple days, I did it probably once an hour. Whenever I felt like I can't do it anymore, I would go in my room and lock the door, and I would put oils on and pray. And so over the next week or so, I found that I was putting them on less often. But that was because I was actually feeling a little bit better. Now, this was the start of spring. Okay, I mentioned that it was late winter. So I remember that within maybe the next week or two, spring kind of started to come. The sun started to come out. We live in Indiana, so it's not exceptionally sunny here in the winter. So of course I was getting more vitamin D. I was intentionally praying over my situation very often, but I was also using essential oils. So I can't tell you with certainty what exactly it was that slowly pulled me out of that season, but I can tell you that since that time, I have never chosen to intentionally stop using those oils, some of those oils, every single day. And I have not ever slipped back into that really rough season either. So, so I don't know what it was. There's a lot of things that play into that, but that was really eye-opening for me. So that was kind of my story, what happened there initially. And I always like to start with my story because everybody has a story and people relate to stories, because when it comes down to it, people are all really similar. Like we all have our quirks and our tendencies, and we have differences to some degree, but ultimately we all struggle with emotions. We are created to be emotional people. We're created to have connections, and relationships are really, really hard. And some of us struggle on a minor level, and some of us struggle on a much deeper level, but we all struggle to some capacity. So I also know, though, that stories are just anecdotal. And so, like I said, I really like to see science. And so even though I could see that change happening inside me, I really needed to know why. Like, I needed to make sure that what I was doing was legitimate, that it wasn't all in my head, that, I wasn't just like mentally manifesting this. I needed to make sure that this was a legitimate thing, because if this is a legitimate thing, I have to do this. I have to tell people that this is a reality. So I need to find out, why did the oils help, and how do they interact with my brain and my body to give me that clarity and that peace and that shift in my focus? So I launched into more research, and what I found absolutely floored me. And it's so silly for me to say at this point, but I really didn't understand how intermingled our body's systems really are. Like, that sounds so stupid to me to say right now, knowing what I know, but I mean, I had never thought about it. Like, I had never put the connection together that our brain and our physical body and our emotions, it's all very connected, very intermingled. When one is suffering, the other is suffering. And when one is doing well, the other is generally doing well. That's actually how our body works. So I wouldn't say that I fully understand it now either. I know there's so much to learn, but I definitely have a base level knowledge of what goes on with our emotions and the rest of our body. And so that's what I want to share with you tonight. So if you haven't gathered this yet, I'm not a doctor or a nurse. I don't have any letters after my name except M-O-M. But I do have a little bit of knowledge, and I have a little bit of experience. And with that, I hope to give you just enough information to inspire you to go out and do your own research, to see some change for yourself, so that you can do this too. So you can share with others that this is real and that this has helped. So if you're joining us tonight and you're like me, when someone first introduced me to essential oils, I want to give you a quick overview of what essential oils actually are. What are we talking about? And then we're going to launch into a little bit more on specifics. So essential oils really are amazing, powerful gifts that are given to us by our Creator, and they have been used for thousands of years. There is reference to essential oils all through the Bible and all through many ancient texts. These are not a new thing, even though they have suddenly become very trendy all of a sudden. They're not new at all. And Young Living has actually always been at the forefront of bringing that ancient tradition back to modern use. We're an older company and have a lot of good standing there. But I'm just so thankful that I actually was introduced to this concept, because it's not a new age thing. It's not a new thing at all. But so what oils actually are is basically they're extracted through careful steam distillation or resin tapping or cold pressing, primarily steam distillation. And the purest essential oils, like you would get from Young Living, are far more powerful than the botanicals from which they come. So if you're thinking of a plant, and maybe like you're familiar with an herb or drinking a tea or something like that, this is like far surpassing that in terms of potency. So anytime you hold a bottle of Young Living oil, you are holding the pure essence of nature. Like, it's just the purest form of the plant. So just very cool stuff. I know I've heard people say that when they were introduced, they were like, oh, plant juice, that's cool. And to a degree, kind of. I mean, essential oils are kind of the lifeblood of the plant. So if you think of them like how we think of our blood, they are basically what keeps the plant going. They are, the part that provides the plant with nutrients and gives it its immune system and things like that. So they're a vital part of the plant, just like our blood is vital to our body. So I want to talk about the 3 ways that we use oils. Now, as a reminder, real quick before I do this, I want to tell you that I'm only talking about Young Living here because, remember, like I said before, there's no regulations on oils in the US, so I can't personally recommend that you use another brand because I don't know anything about where those oils come from or what might actually be in the bottle. So I just want to preface with that before we get started. But okay, so there's 3 basic ways that we use essential oils. So the first one is aromatically. So we actually already did this. If you participated with us in the swirl and breathe, swirl and sniff. Somebody come up with a trendy name for this, please. That's one way to use the oils aromatically, is to inhale them. So you can either put them in your hands and inhale them. You could put them on like a piece of like a diffuser necklace, or some people use diffuser bracelets. You can put them on there and inhale them that way. You can even just straight out of the bottle inhale them. So open your bottle, smell it, and you actually get benefits from that. This is the only thing I can think of in the whole world that you can use without actually using. So like, this doesn't cost me anything. There's nothing coming out of this bottle, but I'm still getting the benefits of the oil. Okay, so aromatically inhaling, and then the last way you can use it is, can you see back here? Teeny tiny in the back of my office is my diffuser. So this is an ultrasonic diffuser, and that is, if you're not familiar with the diffuser, it's kind of like a tiny humidifier, but it's a special grade of plastic, and it has a little piece in the bottom that vibrates really quickly. And so when you put the water in and you put the oils in and you turn it on, that vibration breaks the particles inside the oil into microparticles, which just means that your body is more easily able to absorb them, which is great because we want our bodies to absorb the oils in every possible way. So aromatic, okay, so that's one way to use our oils. It's a very effective way to use your oils for emotions. Okay, the second way we use them is topically. So we kind of got like a 1-2 punch with what we did earlier with the oil on our hands and then inhaling it. So we were doing topical and aromatic at the same time. But topical use would be to put the oil on topically, okay? Pretty straightforward. Most people are familiar with that. Now, when you put an oil on topically, especially if you're brand new or if you haven't used the oil in the past, or if you're just very in tune with reading the label, you may want to dilute the oil that you're using with a carrier oil. So that would be a carrier oil is any kind of fatty oil. So coconut, avocado, jojoba, grapeseed, any of those fatty oils will help carry that into your skin. And if there were to be any sort of sensitivity or anything like that, that would help alleviate that. So most of the time I'm just straight up too lazy to use a carrier, but certainly feel free if you prefer to do that, if you're more comfortable with it, or if you want to stretch your oils more, totally up to you. And then the third way that we can use some of our oils is as a dietary supplement. So this is a very unique thing for our company. Many of our essential oils actually are labeled for consumption. They are GRAS, generally regarded as safe. And the ones that we have that are labeled for consumption, I don't even know if I have any in here. Oh, I do. They're right here. So they have a totally different label. So you never have to wonder, is this one okay to ingest? So like this, I know it's backwards, but this is Theives Vitality. So when it has a white label, you can also see if you're looking at one, if you look really closely at the bottom, it says essential oil supplement. So to use your oils internally, you can do a couple things. You can buy the little clear vegetable capsules. You can put them in that way. You can put it into a drink. You could put it into like a hot tea, or you could drop it into your water. Or you can just like drop it in your mouth, which is maybe what I'm going to do in a second because my throat is kind of pooping out on me. But that is a unique thing. Like I said, don't just grab an oil from the store and ingest that. You probably wouldn't want to do that. But that's a neat thing that we have in terms of versatility with our oils. So now, back to when I was doing all that research, and I kept bumping into all this information about essential oils being used for emotions. I know I told you before that I kept kind of writing it off and thinking it was nonsense. But in doing so, I realized, looking back, that I really wasn't even thinking clearly, because if I would have stopped to think about it for just a second, I would have realized that my sense of smell is very closely linked to my memories and my emotions. So essential oils aside, like if you're watching this and you've made it this far and you still think I'm full of baloney, just think for 1 second, forget essential oils, okay? Think about the smell of chocolate chip cookies. Okay, can you imagine that smell in your mind? Does anyone feel depressed when they smell chocolate chip cookies? Anyone feel just like, that is the worst. Oh, that just stinks. It's terrible. No. That smell makes everybody happy and looking for cookies. And if it doesn't, you can be sure there's some sort of negative memory associated with that, because everybody naturally loves that smell. And not only do we love that smell, it physically makes our body do something. What does it do? It makes you salivate. It physically makes your body do something. And when you salivate, your body also does cool things like produces gastric, like there's changes in your body just from smelling that, okay? So, cookies. What about the smell of fresh cut grass? What about the smell of an orange when you first break the peel? Now, just pretend it didn't just squirt in your eye, because that makes everyone cry, but just that smell. What about the whiff you get when you open up an old cedar chest at your grandparents' house? One of my children just fell off the bed. You guys, I planned this class on accident when my husband was at a meeting, and one of my kids just fell off the bed and she's going to come in here crying. I'm so sorry. Hold that thought, okay? Pretend you're opening the cedar chest with oranges and fresh cut grass and chocolate chip cookies.
And she rolled off the bed.
Yes, I heard that. Come here, baby girl. So sorry. Hey. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't think this has ever happened in an online class before. Okay, so those are all really good smells, right? And we know that our body has, most of us have positive reactions to each of those. But let's think about the smell of gasoline. Now, I actually used to like the smell of gasoline as a kid. I don't like it anymore. Gasoline, does it give you a positive memory or a negative? What about the smell of vomit or a porta potty that needs serviced or burnt popcorn? Okay, all of those things give us like kind of a visceral reaction, okay? Like a physical, like in some cases you might physically gag. Those are all related to the sense of smell coming into your body, okay? So we physically do things when we smell things. So every one of those scents connects us with a specific emotion or a specific memory. And that's exactly why essential oils can play such a huge role in emotional well-being. So like those scents in everyday life, hopefully you don't have some of those scents in your everyday life, but you know what I'm saying. Essential oils have a very similar effect on the body and the brain, all right? Each essential oil's complex, pleasant, and unique scent triggers emotions and memories, which can help in your search for a more fulfilling and balanced life. So, what's the science part? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's a little bit of science for you. This is on how essential oils actually impact our emotions. So, the limbic system of the brain plays a powerful role in creating different emotions and feelings. It is often called the emotional switchboard of the brain. So how many of you have seen the movie Inside Out? Okay, I totally loved that movie because it was such a great depiction of what our emotions actually look like. That movie is the emotional switchboard, okay? Sweetie, I need you to go back in the bedroom, please, okay? I love you. Otherwise, I'm going to put you to bed, okay? Go watch, finish your movie. I love you. Thanks for being gracious, you guys. I'm sorry. Because your brain, that part of your brain is responsible for carrying sensory input from the environment to the hypothalamus, and then from the hypothalamus to other parts of the body. So again, everything is intermingled, okay? It's all connected. So essential oils can have dramatic effects on your limbic function, your emotional state, how you feel. This is directly related to their strong aromatic fragrance. So essential oils contain volatile molecules that can make their way into your bloodstream, and many can travel directly through the blood-brain barrier very quickly. This is a unique thing, okay? Not a lot of things can travel through the blood-brain barrier. This is a very powerful and unique type of thing. Okay, now the really neat thing about essential oils is that really no matter where you put them onto or in your body, they're ultimately going to end up in your bloodstream and circulating through your entire body. But inhaling the oils, either by diffusing them or breathing them in from the bottle or your hands, is truly the most effective way to use them for things like emotions, because think about it. Where does the scent carry itself when you inhale it? It goes straight up your nose and then into your limbic system. So diffusing the oils at night is even more beneficial, because at night your body is naturally in its restorative state. I just spit on my computer, you guys. It's naturally in its restorative state. It's healing, it's regenerating, it's doing what it's designed to do while you sleep. So if you put a diffuser next to your bed at night, you are just aiding the body in that process of what it's already doing. So we have diffusers in all of our bedrooms, and we diffuse a lot of calming oils at night in our house because, again, 6 children. Okay, so now that you understand the basic science behind the oils, you might be wondering which oils are best for what. Like, if I'm feeling sad, what should I use? Or if I'm feeling afraid, is there really an oil for that? Like, what should I use for this? And I know that this was one of my primary hangups when I first started using oils, because, again, I'm very inclined to research. I'm very inclined to knowing the details behind things. And so I wanted to know, what do I use for what? And this is probably the most common question that really we get when somebody first purchases oils. Okay, what do I use for this? And while different essential oils do carry different benefits because they all have a unique compound and a molecular structure, they all actually work in kind of the same way, in that they all help your body to process and detox, which is what it naturally does, but it boosts the efficiency of your body's own systems. So essential oils are not manipulative like medications. They are a natural boost to your body's ongoing processes, okay? So your body is naturally designed to detox on a regular basis. It's naturally designed to process the things it's taking in and take the nutrients it needs and process out the rest. And that's what oils help with, okay? They help. That's why we use them regularly, because we constantly are doing that. So we're using this as a standard measure of care for our bodies, to help our bodies do what they need to do, because we know that our bodies are under a huge toxic load just from the world today. That's just how it is. We've got factories, we've got cars, there's just pollution everywhere. And that's just what's outside. That's not even what we have in our homes, or what's in our water that we can't control, or our food, or what's at the workplace where we go to work, you know. So we are constantly under this toxic stress. And so I just want you to keep that in mind before we talk about specific oils. If you have Young Living oils, do not feel like you have to go buy something else right now, okay? I want you to use what you have. So keep that in mind, okay? Oils help your body do what it is naturally designed to do. So don't get hung up on the specifics, okay? Just use your oils every day. All right. So now, because this class is specifically about using oils for emotions, I do want to mention that we have a lot of oils designed for emotional well-being. There's even a collection of member favorites that you can purchase. It's called the Feelings Collection. It's a phenomenal collection of oils. It's amazing. And they're all blends, which are put together in a lab. They're not thrown together Pinterest style, okay? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, hop on Pinterest for 5 seconds and you'll see about 30 essential oil recipes. Just throw it all in here. That's not how Young Living makes their blends, okay? They are put together in a lab by actual scientists in a way that sees what happens at the molecular level when we combine certain essential oils. So putting your oils together haphazardly, so to speak, or in a Pinterest style recipe is not necessarily going to be harmful, but neither is it necessarily going to be as beneficial as just using a blend that was designed in a specific way by a scientist. Okay, so just know we have the Feelings Collection. It is amazing. You can buy all the oils outside of the collection as well individually. But I want to start talking about the oils that are in the Premium Starter Kit, because that's what most people have on hand, and I want this class to be really practical for those of you who have taken the time to come to this class but may not have an extensive plethora of oils at this point. So I also want you to know that you have something you can use right now. So like I said, you don't need to go out of your way, hop online and buy something right now. Okay, you have oils in your kit that you can use for emotions. So now if you have your oils with you, which you should have because I told you to bring them to the class, right? Unless you have a huge collection, then just grab a couple. But if you have your starter kit with you, the primary oils that I personally use for emotions from the starter kit are frankincense, stress away, lavender, and lemon. Now again, all the oils are going to benefit you, okay? But those are the ones from the premium starter kit that I use when I need the most direct, quick reaction from my body, okay? Other oils that I personally use regularly would be joy, sacred frankincense, grounding, release, valor, peace and calming, Idaho balsam fir, endoflex, and orange. Okay, now if you have your premium starter kit with you right now, I'd like you to grab your frankincense, your stress away, and your lavender bottles. Okay, so grab those three and open up each of the bottles and put 1 drop of each into your hands. Or if you have a diffuser nearby and it's empty, shame on you. No, just kidding. But if it's empty, go ahead and put 2 drops of each of those oils, lavender, frankincense, and stress away, into your diffuser with your water, obviously, and go ahead and turn it on. And then when we get off this call, move that diffuser into your room and have the best sleep of your life, okay? But if you put the oils into your hand, go ahead and follow the same protocol we used before, where you swirl the oils clockwise. There's a science to that I won't get into right now, but clockwise. And then breathe deeply for 10 seconds. I'm not going to do a awkward 10-second pause, but I won't judge you for doing it at home, okay? Those are the 3 most common oils from the starter kit that are very beneficial for emotional health. So that's why we are using those 3. I actually had to pull out a lavender. My daughter took my last lavender out of here, so I don't have that in here right now. Okay, now I want to hop back to my story for just a minute because there's something important that I always feel like I need to add. So our oils are a beautiful gift from God, but they are not medication. Now, I was not on medication when I began using my oils for emotions, but I know that some people are on medications for a variety of different reasons. And if you are currently taking medication for anything related to emotions or not related to emotions, anything else, please know that I'm not telling you to stop taking your medications, okay? You need to only do that under your doctor's supervision and guidance. That's not what I'm saying to you. However, since our oils are not medications, and since they are a pure substance that in general terms are just helping your body process the way it is designed to process, they also generally don't have any negative interactions with medications, which means that most people can safely use essential oils in combination with their meds simultaneously. So I'm actually going to post a link after this event is over, after the video is over. I'm going to post a link in the group from a pharmacist. Her name is Lindsay Elmore, and she teaches a lot about essential oils and how they interact with all kinds of things. If you are like a science nerd, her YouTube channel and her Facebook page are phenomenal. So I'm going to post a link to a video that she did, and she is talking in that video about essential oils and any potential interactions with medications. So she actually in the video is speaking specifically about grapefruit oil and medications, because a lot of people have questions about that one specifically because there's a medication that says not to consume grapefruit. So she's speaking specifically about that. But I think you'll find the information helpful and applicable to many situations. So just know that that's going up in the group tonight. But outside of specific oils and how they work with our emotions, I want to talk about one other thing that can really play into our emotional well-being that oftentimes gets overlooked. And that is the toxins that we are coming into contact with every day. So, I already mentioned we're under a toxic load, and of course our physical well-being manifests itself in our emotional well-being and vice versa. And there's certain things that we just cannot control. So in my brain, I usually categorize, for the sake of simplicity for me, I categorize toxins as the ones that I can't control and the ones that I can control. So the ones I can't control would be like air pollution. Okay, I have no control over how many trucks my neighbors drive, or how many factories go up the street. I have no control over the air freshener or the cleaning products that they're using at the store or my church or wherever it is that I am going. There's an element of things that we can't control. But then there are the things that we have the ability to control. And that's what I want to touch on before we finish up for tonight. So unless you've been living under a rock, you have no doubt read or seen some information just speaking to the toxicity level of a lot of the products that we have in our home. So, I'm talking about things like cleaning sprays to air fresheners to shower products. There's just, the list is ridiculous. And unfortunately, companies continue to put these ingredients into our products even though they know that they've been linked to cancer and infertility and respiratory issues and suppressed immune systems and lots of other things, some of them seemingly minor, but others really dangerous. And so since our body is one large working organism, and since science continues to confirm just how deeply connected every piece and every system is to another, it's really important that we don't just look at our emotional health as a singular thing. We have to look at our physical health as well in order to protect and address our emotional health, because they are so closely connected. So, someone's screaming again. This is actually happening. Okay, I think my husband might be home. She's going to keep screaming outside my door, though. I'm so sorry. So if we can't see the reality of the things being connected as they are, addressing one little thing might have some effect on our emotions. It might. But if we really want to see big changes, we have to take this overall approach to our entire health, not just our mind, not just our emotions, but our body as well. So one thing that I really love and appreciate about Young Living is their commitment to continuing to create and offer these products that have clean ingredients. So the term clean or natural or green obviously is trendy everywhere. The reality is there are no regulations for those words either. And so just because something says natural on it really means nothing, okay? But what I mean when I say that is that all of our ingredients are listed on every product. You can always find an ingredient list. I don't know if you know this, but there are a lot of products that aren't actually required to list their ingredients. And one word that covers, I think I've heard 1,000 different things, is the word fragrance. So a company can basically put a variety of stuff into their products and label it fragrance. So we don't even know what they're putting in their products, except that there's fragrance, whatever that is. So anyway, so I just love that Young Living's very transparent about what's going into their products, and they're always listening to their members. They are upgrading products all the time, because people are saying, you know what, why do we have that? Maybe we could try this. This would be safer. Even if it wasn't a bad ingredient before, there are oftentimes better ingredients. And so they're upgrading all the time. And sometimes our products even go out of stock because they're upgrading or reformulating a product to make it better for their members. But I mean, really, like everything from laundry soap to bath gel to toothpaste to supplements. And I mean, of course, our essential oils. Young Living is really continuing to just raise the bar and set that standard for companies. And I just love that they're so transparent, and I know that what I'm getting is a safe product. So that's really why we have transitioned a lot of the products in our house to Young Living, simply because I'm comfortable with the ingredients. I love the transparency of the company, and it is so apparent how much they love us, because they just are so good to us. So, I tell people a lot, like, I don't talk about Young Living because I want to make money. But I talk about Young Living because we would be using all this stuff even if I couldn't make any money. Like, every product that I've tried from Young Living, I can't think of a product that I tried and when I received it and used it, I thought, I'll just go back to what I had before. Like, I really cannot think of a product, either because the ingredients list is so much purer, or I just love the way the product works, or it lasts so long. I mean, I'm floored every time I get a new product. So anyway, I know though that all that information can be overwhelming. And so if you're just starting out and you're like, whoa, I don't think I can transition my entire house at once, that is okay. All right. We understand everyone has a budget. I do not encourage people to put their Young Living orders on a credit card. We want you to live within your budget and do a slow transition, because that's what we've done, and that's what's most practical for most people. In general, not everybody can go out and buy $1,000 worth of products and transform, their house. So that's okay. But I want to just help you with a couple simple steps to get started if you're not yet, or if you're just not sure where to go next. So if you're not yet a Young Living member, the first thing you'll want to do is grab a premium starter kit, like as soon as possible. So this kit comes with 11 essential oils and a free diffuser, and it is just straight up the best deal, okay? So let me show you super quick. I'm not even going to pull them out or tell you what they do, because we've already talked all about what oils do, but here is the main 10 oils you get. You can see that there are 5 Vitality oils, 5 topical or aromatic, plus this bonus, which is Stress Away, which is my favorite. Plus there's like some extra freebies and stuff there in the bottom. But then the free diffuser, like the diffuser is the main thing, okay? So I've got that one going in the back. You can get that one with your starter kit for free, or you can upgrade to a different one if you want, but you definitely want to start with a starter kit. Okay. If I invited you to this class, just let me know and I'll shoot over my referral number so you can join our Facebook groups and get access to all our team education and all of that. If someone else invited you to this class and you are ready to get started, be sure to grab their referral number so that they can help you with that process. So your starter kit purchase then, on top of giving you that amazing collection, also gives you 24% off all of your future products with no minimums forever. Okay, it's like the best. So, so you want to start with that. And then once you grab your kit, or if you're already a member, the easiest way for you to do that slow transition and the most cost-effective way is to check out our loyalty program called Essential Rewards. So that is the way that we have personally swapped our products, our toxic products in our house, or even our safe-ish products in our house, for actually safe products, because it's really important to us that we take this with a whole health approach. So what that program offers, on top of the 24% discount, you also begin earning 10 to 25% back on every single monthly purchase you make, no matter what the product. So you can start with something small, like maybe you want to start with the household cleaner and the toothpaste and the laundry soap, and you just want to start with something little. Or maybe you want to jump all in and you want to go for the feelings collection, whatever you want to do, anything in between there. Your sponsor would be happy to explain that to you more. But outside of that, you also get additional free products available from Essential Rewards only. You can totally switch up your cart every month. You get free products every 3 months for the first year. And there's not a minimum length of time you need to be on it, but the longer you're on it, the greater your benefits. So our family has earned so many free products, and we've been able to try so many things that we would have not been able to afford really outside of that. So we love that program so much. I do want to wrap up tonight with just a couple of resources for you. If you'd like some more information on essential oils and emotions, I mentioned already that there would be a few videos posted, or I mentioned one video. I have a couple videos scheduled actually to come in just a few minutes coming up here in the event page. But I also want to give you a couple book recommendations, and I'll put these in the group as well in case you don't have time to write them down. But the first one would be the Essential Oils Desk Reference. So this is one of the books that I referenced when I was pulling my oils off the rack when I was having a rough day. The Essential Oils Desk Reference is available from Life Science Publishing. Their website is discoverlsp.com. Another book is called Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils by Carolyn Mine. The third book is The Aroma Freedom Technique by Dr. Benjamin Purkis. There is actually an entire collection of people who are certified in this technique. And this is an amazing thing that I only just have a tiny understanding of, but I have heard people who have released emotional memories and trauma. I mean, just incredible things with this. So if you would like to be connected to someone who is certified in this technique, certainly talk to your sponsor, because there are lots of people who have been certified in this, and this is really a beautiful gift to so many people. And then the last one, and this is specifically for people who are Christians and who might be struggling with how this fits in with the Bible, is called The Aroma of Worship by Pastor Darren Stidd. So Darren is actually a good friend of ours, and like I mentioned, a pastor, and he has so much information and has done so much studying on how essential oils are really all throughout the Bible. They run all through the Old and the New Testament, and that book is such a neat way to be able to experience the oils in a devotional manner. So it's a very unique book. I don't know of another one like it, but that book is available as well. So I will post those in the group as well, just so that you have a reference for those if you want to grab any of those. Also going in the group, if you want to follow me on Facebook, my public page is Healthy Happy Homes. I'll put a link there. But outside of that, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this class. It has been such a privilege to be here. I really, like I mentioned, this is one of my favorite classes to teach. I love being able to share this with people because so many people struggle with emotions, and this is something that maybe doesn't get talked about enough. And so anyway, I'm just very honored to be here. I'm so thankful that you were able to join me tonight, and truly I am praying that all of you will be blessed by this information, that it will help propel you into a better emotional state, and that you will be able to bless others with the same information that you have been given. So thank you so much, y'all. Enjoy your evening. Bye.